everybody, I'm sure, knows ALKA. Alka, you can tell more about exactly, all the details. She's a nutritionist, Ayurveda specialist, and she has helped so many people in this area, and not just in this area, but everywhere. And so I am really happy to see Alka give this talk. And this topic is also very important for everyone. And so, Alka, please go ahead and introduce yourself again, if any other details, and let's start. Thank you very much, Alka.
Thank you, Kaka. And first of all, again, very, very grateful for having me on this platform. So today's topic is actually suggested by you. And I'm thankful that this topic has come out, because sometimes this is a little hesitation. Not everybody likes to talk about this. So I'm glad you actually gave a suggestion for this topic. To give you a small brief idea about what I do. So I'm a registered clinical herbalist and board certified in holistic nutrition. That's my holistic background, or the nutrition, or the overall the wellness side background. And on the other side of convention side, I also am a part of My Doctor's Apothecary, where we do the formulations and compounding for a specialty pharmacy. So we are basically the specialty pharmacy. So I'm the part of Juno Wellness as well as the part of My Doctor's Apothecary. So today actually is the topic for which not only the elderly, but also from, I would say, from all the age group, even starting from the younger generation, or the kindergartners, all the way up to the 90s, and in the people who are in their 90s, that they face the same issue. So, and again, this is a disclaimer which I normally put for all my presentations, just to make sure that this is solely for educational purposes only. If you happen to make any changes to your diet, to your supplementations as well, make sure you are talking to your prescriber as well as your other healthcare provider who is actually helping you to manage your medications, because sometimes different medications can interfere with some herbs, also with some nutritional supplementations. So make sure you're sharing all the information if you're changing anything from your side into the diet. Now coming to the main problem of detoxification. So why we are talking about the constipation is because this is a process where our body is actually going to detox, or the body detoxes every day. And this is a engineered formulation or engineered thing which our bodies are meant to do in the day-to-day basis. As the person gets the birth, these are all engineered, these are all been fixed. These are the routines which are being fixed by our creator to do certain things. So there are three primary organs which we are going to talk about. There are other two organs as well, but the three primary organs which are responsible for overall detoxification in our bodies. The first one, we call it as colon. The second is the kidneys, and the third one is the liver. Now for colon, we are specifically, there is a term called vata in the bracket. The reason behind that, the colon, the seat of the vata, there are three doshas which actually govern our bodies, which are made with the 5 primordial forces. So that is Prithvi, Jala, Vayu, Akash, and the last one is the ether, which is the overall Agni, basically. So those are the 5 elements which they actually work on our bodies. They are governing on our bodies, and they get condensed into 3 doshas, which is Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. So Vata is basically a combination of 2 different elements together. It combines the air and also ether together and forms Vata. Kapha is the combination of earth element and the water element, condenses to Kapha. And Pitta is the combination of fire and water. So 2 opposite forces coming together is the Pitta. Now colons is the biggest ruler for the colon, or the seat of the Vata is the colon. And the seat, not seat as such, but the force which governs onto the kidneys is Kapha, solidity, and also the water retention and elimination process. And third one is the liver, which is governed by the which has the capacity, or which has the the action of pitta doshas on it. Liver is one of the heatest organ in our bodies as well. Now, out of these three organs, we'll be focusing on the colon today because we are going to talk about the constipation. Now, let's look into it, what exactly colon means and what is it and how does it look like. Now, this is if you see on here, this is on my right side where my cursor is actually moving is inside of the colon. Ignore these little red spots which you are seeing because that's a condition which gets associated with colon. So don't look into that, but this is just the general idea of how muscular and how does it look like a fold inside your bodies. On my left side, the figure which you are seeing here, you must have heard about certain parts already. This is just the brushing up of our things which we have already learned when we were growing up. So there are major parts of the colon. You see that little tail-like thing right here where my cursor is moving. This is the appendix. So whenever you have any we say there's an appendix attack in that situation, this actually. So this is our little appendix over here. As we go rising, so basically this is the start and this is the end. So as we go up, this is basically our ascending colon, which we are going towards the ascending side. This is the part which is sitting towards it, like this is the ones like a curve. This is our transverse colon. When you go down like this is our descending colon. This area, this little area right here, which is like a C-shape area, that is called a sigmoid colon. Then this part right here is our rectum, and all the way, which actually is not seen in the figure, but the end part is our anus. So mainly the large intestine, or which is also called as colon, it's basically colon, rectum, and anus. So it's a whole part of colon, the rectum, and anus. So the complete part, three parts together, is called as large intestine. Now, the term large intestine and also the small intestine is somewhere a little confusing because small intestine, if you see this actual size of the small intestine, and I'm talking about the lengthwise. So lengthwise, the size of the small intestine, you're looking around, if you try to spread it or stretch it, it's going to be somewhere close to it can fill up the whole tennis court. It's that long. And then when you look into the size of the large colon is, I think the name itself, it's because of the width of the colon. And when you try to expand that, it's approximately about 5 feet long, you can say. So that's why it's called as large, because of the width, and the small, it's because of the width of the small colon. Now the bodies, as I said, they are all engineered. They are all already done. It's like a complete piece when we are born, because those memories are already fed in our system. To live our life, there are three major things which our bodies has to do to get keep us alive, rather, you can say. So the digestive part, there are many systems in our bodies: digestive system, endocrine system, nervous system. So out of that, the digestive system has three bigger jobs to do. First thing, you start your intake from your mouth. So you first eat the food. When that food is taken inside of your stomach and your small intestine, the stomach actually does all the processes inside, the churning, all necessities of grounding, and all the secretion of the juices and all. When everything is done, then when it gets transferred, or when it gets completely in a process, completely processed to get absorbed into your nutrient forms, that is a transformation form, when the nutrients are actually transformed. So it's like a factory. When you are making a production, the whole production has been created, but with the production, there comes the debris, which needs to be taken out of the system. And that part is the disposal. So the digestive system, as I said, it's an intake. You take the food, transformation, you eat, and then whatever is needed gets absorbed. And unnecessary things which are not supposed to be the part of our body or our system has to go out. It cannot stay inside our bodies. So that's the disposal part. Now, the role of the colon, if you try to understand, this is how it looks like. If you open, this is the dummy part, of course. This is just the plastic dummy, which has been shown in the picture. So those little things, the blue things which you're seeing here, those are the fecal matters. Those are the things which should be coming out of our system. And that's a little hole which is supposed to be so that's the anus, which is just taking the whole thing out of the system. So the main job of the colon is to expel this residual food particles, whatever is not needed from our system, with the help of, there are beneficial bacteria which are present in the in the form of colonies in our colon. So there are multiple different types of bacteria. Their job is to make sure that whatever is been supposed to be taken out, it's been fermented and taken out in a proper way, rather digested in a proper way. And simultaneously, they reabsorb, the colon actually reabsorbs the vital electrolytes and water to make sure that nothing is taken out completely from our system. Now, one thing we all need to understand, that whenever it's a time to expel the residual food particles, that process actually needs the water content in there to make sure that the stool becomes soft, and it's easy for those the muscles of the colon to actually do the contraction and relaxation to push it out of our system. So these are the main things, which is if you try to look into the overall process, it seems very simple, but there are various different things associated with. There are lots of different systems, they work together. Now, constipation is what is actually the definition of a constipation is. So when constipation, you have irregular bowel movements. It's not just like a completely absent of bowel movements. It's actually when you have the irregularity as well. So what do you mean by irregularity? So one day you are using the bathroom, the 2 days you are not, and then third and the fourth day probably are going again, then no more bowel movements for next couple of days, and so forth, so on. So that's the irregularity in your bowel movement. Or sometimes there is a lack of bowel movements for very prolonged period of time. So in our pharmacies, you will most of the time what we see is that people come for emergency stool softeners or laxatives, or to get even the prescription medications for the condition where they do not have bowel movements for almost 7 days straight, 7 to 8 days, and they are just it's hard to see them in that case, because it's just it's an awful thing to have, because you're having so much of gas, bloating, since the stool, which is not supposed to be in there for that long, it's just not getting out of the system. It's sitting there, and it's causing a lot of different other problems when the elimination is not proper. And this is one of the leading problems in United States. We not only just the antibiotics and the statin drugs, equally sold over-the-counter drugs are the contraceptives, the oral contraceptives, not contraceptives, laxatives, as well as the stool softeners. And at the same time, the glycerin suppositories as well. So there are enemas, suppositories, then laxatives and stool softeners, which are getting sold in a very high quantity from the OTC side or the over-the-counter side. Now, there are some specific general causes. We are going to jump into the Ayurvedic perspective in like a minute or so. But there are some general causes from the observation side from us, that what could be the possibility of not having the regular bowel movement. So first of all, and one of the most important thing which we have observed in our intake forms as well, is not having an improper diet. And what do you mean by improper diet? The eating habits is number one. The second one is not having the regularity in eating of the food. There is always the change of timings, that one day I'm eating at 10 o'clock in the morning, and then other day I'm eating at maybe late at night, like 9 o'clock. So there are off timings always. So that timing part is there. Improper diet, that means there are food items which are supposed to be the part of your complete food group to take it. That's missing. So that comes with the diet part, and we are going to talk about that. What are the food items which are supposed to be in the diet for having a regularity? Then second part, which is again, unfortunately not in our hands, is the aging. So especially after I would say even after the 40s or 45, every person must focus on how our eliminations are, and how regular we are for eliminating our bowels. So it's not the aging when you're looking into 70s and 80s. It's actually very early if you start taking measures on that particular age groups. Because as you start, for women, especially when you're going in the menopausal years as well, or even for men, they're coming to the andropause, there are lots of different things to change, our bodies change. So it actually causes, I mean, we see a lot of people going through this issue of constipation as well. Then there are specific drugs, and I'm going to share the website with you. We're not going to talk about all the names of the drugs and all because we don't want to go into that side. But there is a website which you can actually see to find out if your drug is listed under that category, which can cause the constipation as well. The other way of finding that out is whenever you go to the pharmacies to pick up your prescription drugs, always talk to the pharmacist to see if there are any specific side effects associated with the drugs. And you can specifically ask if this is going to cause you any kind of constipation as well. Because if it does, then you need to start with some other food changes. At the same time, you might need some over-the-counter supplemental support as well to make sure that it's not giving you the distress of the constipation as well. Then there are some chronic diseases, and one of the major chronic disease which leads to the constipation is actually the irritable bowel syndrome. So IBD or IBS, both of them. So those are diseases of irritable bowel disease as well as the irritable bowel syndrome. Syndrome, I would say, is one of the major things which you see for the chronic constipation. Now, there are certain neurogenic abnormalities as well. I mean, we are not going to go again in detail, but there are lots of different things. There's stroke and those problems, anything with neurogenetic things or diseases can also cause the constipation issues. Now, and this is again, which we all know, but there are beyond certain things of not just low fiber or inadequate hydration. There are lots of different things which also play a role when it comes to constipation. But the primary base, as you can see, people are not adding enough enough fiber in their diet as well. And this is again from our own observations, what we are seeing when you are taking a chart of the food intakes. You don't see much of the vegetables getting consumed. So that's one of the number one cause which we are seeing in the intakes, that there is no fiber in the diet at all. Because fiber is actually needed to bind the stool and to make sure that it is taken out of our system. If that is not happening, you are going to have an issue. So that's number one. Number two is the refined carbohydrates. So, and this may not be suitable for elderly age group because they eat really well, or they have in past when they were growing also, especially in this country, their diet was different. But the refined carbohydrate problems comes for the age group starting from young kids to all the way to the elderly, I would say around 40s and 50s. This is the issue as well, the refined carbohydrates. The third main part, which we see in all the age groups, that is the hydration. If you try to see how much of a water you have been drinking, you will hardly, especially in the winter also, you will hardly see that you are grabbing the glass of water to have sip quite often. So these are the three major portions which you will see as a base for starting of the constipation. If somebody has started just like we most recently having a constipation issues without any prescription drugs or any other factors, this could be the possibility of the chronic constipation or just a startup of constipation. So they can change the things initially just by changing into the fiber process or just adding extra water in their diet as well. Now, aging is the biggest factor because aging can actually lower the digestive capacities. And this is a natural phenomenon. As the person takes birth, slowly when it's in its balyavastha, or when we call it as child, in the child form, or rather in the child state, their digestive capacities, or when they are there, even when they are in the teenage capacities, they have a really good capacity to digest the food, because that's how that's the need of that age group. As you start aging, as you start going down, it's the cycle where we are supposed to be ending our whole. It's like a human, what you say, more of the circular things which are supposed to be completed. So in that form, as we start aging, because of so many different factors, because of the age, the previous eating patterns, or any of the underlying conditions, our digestive capacities are lower. So what do you mean by digestive capacities? That means first thing, your stomach acid has been lowered. That means whatever is getting into your system does not get broken down the way it's supposed to be or used to be in the past. So that means your digestion has lowered, and that actually lowers the amount of food which is actually needed for that age group category as well. If you try to eat the same way when you are 16 at the age of 70, it's definitely cause you the distress or definitely cause you the problem. So that means whenever you have to watch what you're eating at certain age groups as well. And because of the same reason, your weakness can cause the bowel muscles, which are supposed to, just like heart muscles, just like arteries, the bowel muscles also gets a little weakened, and they don't have the capacity of that squeezing to make sure that the stool is coming out. So that factor, unfortunately, we cannot change much because it's the overall cycle of life, but there are a few things we can change from our side in the diet. Now, there are specific drugs. This is the website, there are many websites actually, but this is a good website actually to get the information. This is the peer-reviewed website. This is coming from the pharmacists and the pharmacy students also, and the experts in the pharmacy, to give you the type of drugs which can actually cause the constipation. So if you're on any of these particular type of category drugs, then you must make sure that you are talking to your prescriber and your pharmacist to see if you need some other support to control the constipation coming from that drug category. Now, opioids is not something which everybody usually takes, but you are on the opioids after your surgery, or if you have if you have fallen for some time, or if you have a major pain problem going on, and if you are put on the opioids, then this can be a problem for constipation. And if that is not addressed at the right time, it can continue even after stopping the therapy or even after stopping the drugs. Iron supplementation, choosing the right type of iron supplementation is extremely important, because iron does cause a problem. Since when you're taking iron supplementation, usually the cheapest form of iron supplementation available is ferrous sulfate. And that is one of the major causes. If you see the overall iron amount in there, it's so high that your body does not get that absorbed, and it sits in your large intestine without any absorption. And the job of the iron, usually it's a type of you can say metal, as we all know. So it absorbs water. When that is absorbing water, your stool is going to start getting harder and harder. So choosing the right type of iron supplementation, which is more of the looking for the elemental iron. And you need approximately 30 to 33 milligrams of elemental iron is enough. I personally like to use for myself the heme iron, which is a polypeptide iron, which comes along with the vitamin B12 and also the vitamin C, which works as an oxidation, works for the oxidation part. So whenever there is an iron absorption, there is going to be an oxidation process, and vitamin C takes care of it. At the same time, vitamin C does have a capacity of softening the stool. So the best iron supplementation I would recommend, or rather I normally recommend, is the heme iron. It's a polypeptide iron. Then lots of antidepressants, lots of antihistamine. So when the seasonal changes are happening, especially from fall, also during the springtime, we are used to taking or grabbing simple Benadryl or Claritin or Zyrtec. And if you're taking it for a very, very long period of time, that's another problem of causing the constipation as well. Then there are some overactive bladder medications, which are supposed to be stopping the amount of bladder elimination. Then also certain blood pressure medications, definitely you need to check on the list. The list are actually given over there. So please do check the list on GoodRx. If your medications are falling under that, you should definitely talk to your prescriber. And lastly, the antiemetics. Antiemetics are the one which stops the nausea or the vomiting process. So that's usually given for people who are in that particular process of surgery, post and pre-surgery, as well as sometimes the digestive problems going on for the temporary reason. So those medications also can cause the constipation. But those are supposed to be the temporary thing. But if it is coming, or rather becoming a habit, then again, definitely do address this, don't stop. Now, there are other constipation causing, or rather diseases which can lead towards the constipation as well. Number one is the diabetes. the reason for the diabetes, when you have an excessive sugar in your blood, that actually damages the vessels and the nerves inside our system. And remember, when there is the elimination actually needs the support from our brain to make sure that the brain is actually giving the signal for our large intestine to eliminate. So when there is an excessive sugar in your system, that is another number one cause for the constipation. Chronic kidney disease is a problem. Hypothyroidism in the checklist of hypothyroidism, there's always a constipation issue also noticed. Not as severe as the other ones are, but yes, you will be finding the hypothyroidism and constipation issue as well. Pituitary disorder, there are many pituitary disorders, and IBS, as I said, there are the number one cause for, along with the diabetes, that's the same thing. And diverticulitis is actually something which goes hand in hand with constipation. It's the vice versa. So basically, when there is a low fiber, there's 100% chance of, I would say, diverticulitis linked because of that inflammation of a little. It's a little pockets which are inside those colon getting inflamed. So the number one cause for the diverticulitis is the low fiber, and that further leads to the constipation. It's very painful. Then now let's look into some Ayurveda analogy. What are the things, or what Ayurveda talks about the constipation as well. Now, the large colon which you are seeing, it's actually called as Purishavaha Stotra in Ayurveda. Purusha is basically the feces or the fecal matters. And we, as we have discussed in the past presentation as well, there are 5 different types of subvatas or subvayus. Out of that, Apana Vayu is actually the seat, the Apana Vayu seat, or which is responsible for moving that fecal matter out of our system. Apana is basically to take it out, the lower, like going to the lower side. And it governs that channel of the brain by signaling our brain to eliminate once the overall rectum gets filled with Chitta. Chitta is nothing but the fecal matter. When it gets filled with Chitta, it's actually going to, the Apana Vayu is going to send a signal to the brain saying that, hey, you know what, this is a time now. Let's go and let's eliminate whatever is sitting in there. Now, this message is been sent through our autonomic nervous system to initiate the peristalsis. What do you mean by peristalsis? It's nothing but squeezing of our intestinal muscles. So when you get up in the morning, the first thing which you sense is to eliminate. And if you are getting up in the Vata period of time, which is before 6 o'clock, it's a classic time for elimination, and to make sure that that's the best time to get up and actually empty your bowels, because that actually has a governing Vata time. So having Apana Vayu and actually Vata governing time at the same time frames, it actually helps to eliminate us properly during that period of time. It actually pushes out the fecal matter at the same time. Now, this process happened twice. Usually, it's the saying in the Ayurveda that whenever you are taking heavy meals, you are supposed to be eliminated after the meal as well. So, and usual transition times are about 10 to 12 hours. So if you're taking the first meal of the lunch, then you will probably have the elimination in the evening. You eat your dinner, and then after 12 hours, you will have the second elimination. So basically, you're supposed to have 2. But nowadays, even going once is a problem. So even though you're having 1, that does not mean that you are eliminating the things properly. You are actually putting, or you're keeping that matter in your system for 24 hours. So if you have and this is something which I've seen my father-in-law been doing or following very, very religiously, that using the bathroom twice, once in the morning and once in the evening. It was a very routine thing for him to make sure that before he takes his lunch in the evening, he used to take a glass of lemon water and go for the elimination. So this are all our basically elderlies, which you have seen, your father, your grandfather must have followed this routine. Now, there are other things for managing when it comes to managing the constipation through the Ayurvedic side. First, and very, 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 very important, is the exercise or the movements. A lot of people are, because of their so many underlying things, are not able to do the proper exercise, but at least if they can do the We have chair yoga, which has been introduced by Sabnis Kaka to to people who are not that fit to do the regular exercises, but at least movements. Your body needs movement. We are supposed to be moving at the same time. It's our job for our body organs to keep ourselves healthy. So exercise and movements is number one. The second thing which we talk about is the discipline of regularity. That means you have to wake up you should put yourself in a schedule that if you are waking up at this particular time of the day, wake up that time, first thing, eliminate your bowls, then you eat your breakfast, and so on and so forth. But that regularity and thinking positive. Many people are taking their phones in the bathrooms nowadays. Even the magazines and the what do you say? There is no more newspapers, but magazines are there. They take the news magazines and go inside. That's a wrong way of elimination. When you are eliminating, your thoughts are supposed to be perfectly concentrated on your anus from your brain, saying that, yes, this is my time and I'm eliminating it. Yeah, you can think about what you have supposed to be doing throughout the day. That's fine, planning for the day, but no other distractions of using phones or magazines or those things are not the good thing to have, because they can actually disturb your minds as well. Third thing, as we talked about, is the regularity eating habits from sunrise. It's very, very important from sunrise, because many people have the tendency to skip breakfast. And I strongly believe, or anybody, if you can ask from our side also, that it's very important to break our fast. When you are fasting for the overtime 12 hours, 15 hours, 16 hours, it's very important to break the fast in the morning. And that's the best time, because when the sun is rising, you have to follow the sun clock. The way it rises, it starts with its own heat or its own energy. Our stomach also starts with the same thing. So when you're eating at the time where the sun is the highest and strongest, it's its own energy, it's a very easy thing for our body to digest the food as well. So keep that habit. Regularity in the eating is important. The other thing which nobody of us, or there are very few people actually notice, how does your stool looks like? Is it floating or is it sinking? So floating stool usually is a good indication that says that it's without ama. And a little part which is it comes in the floating stool is, if you have a fat in your stool, then even your stool at that time also your stool can float. But so you're looking at the stool which is without the undigested fat. And then usually this type of stools are seen in the vegetarian people, that their stools are most of the time are floating if they're eating well. Then the second thing is the sinking or a sticky stool. It's a bad thing. It's a bad indicator because it says that it's with ama or the toxins filled. That's why it's sticking, because its ama is heavy. It's going to start sticking into the bottom or sinking into the bottom. It even sticks actually when it's a severe ama present. And commonly non-vegetarian diet, those people have usually a type of stool which is usually sinking. Now, there are some the guidelines to be followed for the food perspective. The first one, to be in the regular interval time, as we talked about, avoid spicy, fatty, and any kind of irritations for your stomachs. Those type of foods should be avoided. Controlled any kind of refined cereal, which is becoming another way of taking our morning breakfast, eating cereal and you're done. And even refined rice. So there are multiple types of rice which are available, and we are lucky to have the rice which is available in the unpolished form. So try to take that rice, which is usually not refined. During your regularity days, when you're having a regular bowel movements, or if you're just started changing into the habit or having regular bowel movements, those days you should start taking some boiled vegetables, leafy greens, and some watery and fibery rich fruits like melons. Melons are great to control the regularity of the bowel movements. And even when you have started having say, for example, after 2 days, you're having a first bowel movement. So that is your day when you can consider that you want to start with the regularity. So those are the things, and start with boiled vegetables, leafy greens on that day. Also the fiber-rich fruits, and throughout the day, you should be consuming water, if the hot water actually, when you're thirsty, or you can force yourself to drink it every maybe 2 to 3 hours just to have a cup of water or the glass of water. Now, there are some classic or beautiful home remedies which you can do. And these are also coming from our, from our wise women, or there are some Ayurvedic literatures which also talk about the remedies which are listed here. So 1 tablespoon of fresh amla juice. If you don't really get amla juice, fresh amla juice is beautiful to take. You're supposed to be getting used to the taste, but it's really, really a good start to take the amla juice in the morning, because it's an excellent rasayana for even longevity and your support for the long-term health, to make sure that you are staying into their younger age, basically, or the younger by heart, you can say. If you cannot find the amla juice fresh, you can always take the amla powder, which is also fine. Another remedy, which is easy to do at home, is the 15 ml of juice of carrot leaves crushed. And you can consume that taking before both the meals, once in the morning before lunch and also in the evening. Third one, which is a roasted urad dal. Urad dal is something which we all eat at home. Just roast a small amount of urad dal, make fine powder of it. Consume 1 tablespoon of that urad dal, added into 4 to 6 ounces of sour takra. Takra is the buttermilk. So you can actually use the sour buttermilk to add that roasted urad dal and consume it. Now, daily consumption of apple, we all know. Apple is a great source of pectin, and so is tomatoes. So some people cannot take tomato because of lots of different reasons, but you can at least have apple, which can be easily consumed. And make sure that there should not be any seeds, because they cause further distress if you have the seeds also. So without seeds, apple every day, and 1 cup of lightly steamed cabbage every day. Cabbage is another thing which is very demulcent, very high in sulfur, very, very great way of detoxifying our liver as well, and overall our bodies. So cabbage, these are just the simple things you can do it at home to begin for the control of constipation. Now, there are some classic formulations also. There are many formulations, of course. And there are formulations from Madhavbag, there are formulations from Rasashala, lots of different formulations available. These are just the easy ones which are available in the market. You can buy it easily. The first one is the Madhu Yashtadi Churna, which is the licorice. When you say Adi, when there is a term Adi, that means along with the main herb as Madhu Yashta or Madhu Yashti or the licorice, there will be other things also. So licorice with other herbs, the Madhu Yashtadi Churna is available. Panchaskar Churna is available. Panchaskar made with 5 different things: Sunthi, Sauf, Sonamukhi, which is we call it as over here Sena, Sendhav, and Bala Haritiki. This has Sendhav in it, so you should be, the people who have blood pressure issues, just be a little careful not to have too much of that. And then the third one is the Sukha Virechana so Sukha Virechana Churna, basically. That has Jamal Gota. We all know about Jamal Gota. If you're raised back in India, you should have heard your parents, grandparents talking about it. The Sanskrit name for Jamal Gota is Kumbhini. That means the kumbhas are basically in large intestinal area. It actually eliminates that or it clears up any vata which is sitting there. And Sunthi is also the part of that combination. Triphala, I love Triphala. It is one of the startup for every person. It's a very, very milder remedy, and tridoshik. So there are all 3 doshas gets balanced with Triphala. So if you absolutely cannot do anything else, start with Triphala in the evening. That's the best way to, that's the best startup actually. Now, there are some single herbs which have been also used. When it comes to single herbs, they try to see if these herbs are actually more of controlling or rather more nervine or adaptogenic as well. So Shatavari is along with, just like Ashwagandha, Shatavari is actually helpful when it controlling the bowel movements or for controlling the constipation. Gokshura, rhubarb root, we are not very familiar in India, but here rhubarb root is usually used for making desserts. But that's not the only use of rhubarb. It's actually very helpful for relieving constipation. Aloe vera juice, we all know about that. Rose petals, again, is a favorite remedy for me as well. Rose petals is not on the A list. It's not very strong. It's one of the milder laxative, you can say. But it taste is good, and it has an astringent property as well. So it's a very it can be used in the other along with other herbs as well. But again, it's not very strong. It's a very, very milder remedy. Licorice root, always we all know, Jashti Madhu. psyllium seeds, haritaki. I love haritaki also. Out of that Triphala Churna, I mean, Triphala Churna has three different things: haritaki, vibhitaki, and amla. Haritaki has specifically used for Vatahari it is. So it is haritaki, and last one is Sena. Sena, I'm not a very, very big fan because Sena causes a very intense, sometimes peristalsis or very intense squeezing. So, you can have a constipation it's in 3 to 4 hours, but it's not my favorite one to start with. If I really have to start with, I would start with Triphala and Haritaki. Then there are some other detoxification methods which you can use or rather gets used when it comes to the constipation controlling. The Virechana karma, where there is a force either causing the purgation, it's something which you can take it out. And the other one is the enema. Enema is which has been used also for this particular or the laxative herbs which are being used. And this is the forceful bowel evacuation and should be done under the proper guidance or proper watch for the practitioner as well. And this examination is usually been done with the help of pulse and the tongue. Tongue actually shows a lot of different things. We can actually have a session. It's a very interesting thing to actually read our own tongue, and tongue tells you so much about our own bodies as well. So maybe probably in future we can have a session just for understand how our tongue looks like and what does it tell you. So there's one of the herbs which are what we talked about. The herbs are listed in that category. Enema is something which you can do it at home. There are home enemas available. So if nothing actually works out, you can go for the simple enema which is available in the market as well. Now, there are some maintaining strategies with the holistic nutrition, and we are going to see what these are. First, as we talked about, is the proper hydration. You must hydrate yourself well when you are actually, if just not for constipation, for many different things, even to get our nutrients absorbed properly in your system, the hydration is very important. So there are water apps actually available that you can, if you're using the smartphones, search for the water tracking app. It will give you reminders each time when your water activity is due. So this is another good way of using our smartphones. We are all using smartphones. Why don't we use it for something good? So water tracking app is also available for the reminder. Then there are beautiful fruit categories which are very, very, very useful when it comes to the relieving the constipations. Those are apples, all types of different melons, bananas, grapes, papaya. I love papaya overall. I recommend papaya a lot when it comes to even producing good digestive enzymes. Dates, when you actually eat the dates early in the morning, like around, I would say about 5 o'clock in the morning, that's actually more beneficial to eliminate. Black pepper, boiled onions, green steamed vegetables. Then rye. Rye is something not everybody eats it, but rye has a good capacity to work on the constipation as well. Vegetable broth, very simple to make it at home, and dried prunes. Prunes we all know here. This is prune juices and all get ingested during the constipation, but nobody reads how much amount of sugar the prune juice has. So it actually goes in the other direction if you're having a lot of sugar already in the prune juice. So you have to look for the prune juice which is without the sugar, but it is hard to consume it that way. So dried prunes is a good way. Combine chopped dried prunes and dates maybe to combine together. Now, there are some dietary restrictions for basically important for elimination or the constipation and diverticulitis as well. This is a study you can actually refer to. The colon, basically, it passes through colon for the stool actually intact and it absorbs water, increasing this is the study on fiber, basically, increasing the bulk of the stool and softening it. So it's important to include the ample amount of fluid and gradual dose increase when it comes to the fiber consumption. So, and this is the biggest mistake a lot of people make. They consume fiber, but they do not eat enough water when you are consuming the fiber, and that's why there is a lot of gas and the bloating issue when somebody is not consuming enough water when taking the fiber supplementation as well, like you go Metamucil or those fibers which are available in the market, which are actually useful for controlling the cholesterol as well. Fiber and cholesterol therapy has lots of studies available. But whenever you're taking fiber, it's very, very, very important to make sure you're drinking enough water to avoid any kind of gas or abdominal discomfort. Now, there are some nutrients which you can start with. Vitamin C, because it actually pulls the water into colon and can help soften the stool. So whenever you're taking high doses of vitamin C, say for up to 2000 milligrams or 3000 milligrams, sometimes you will have soft stools next day. Same with magnesium. I love magnesium as the first choice when it comes to the for the controlling constipation along with other Ayurvedic herbs. Magnesium in the buffered form, because to avoid any kind of further distress also, or just to get the absorption also properly. The magnesium can be taken into, especially for the digestive problems. You can start with maybe magnesium citrate is a good choice. Or if you're having a problem with the other forms, reactive magnesium is also another good way. Reactive magnesium has all different types of magnesiums together. So if you have, for any kind of reason, have a problem of absorbing the magnesium in one form, you can have other forms available as well. Vitamin B1, it works really, really when it comes to it's controlling the constipation. And the major reason behind that is, especially this vitamin is helpful when it comes to controlling with the IBS. So our mind and gut has a strong connection. And vitamin B1, which is a thiamine, is important for the metabolism of several neurotransmitters. So when you are controlling the vitamin B consumption or taking a good amount of vitamin B1, it's very helpful for those interactions from our brain to the large intestine to make sure that the elimination works well. So it doesn't have a direct impact, but yes, it definitely works along with the other factors as well. And another very important thing is the probiotic. Now, this question we always get that, this question we always get that how to choose a probiotic. Why the probiotic? So probiotic, first of all, when someone has not good digestive flora for so many different reasons, if you're taking a course of antibiotic and if you're not taking probiotic, that means you're actually destroying your good flora or bacterial flora in your digestive tract. So in that case, you need a good probiotic. So how do you actually choose a good probiotic? So any kind of brand, when you're choosing, look for these three things which are listed on the screen here: the lactobacillus, the bifidobacterium, and third one is the Saccharomyces boulardii. So bifidobacterium is our original bacterial flora when the person is born, or when we actually were created. That rather you can say. Lactobacillus is very important for digesting lots of different things, and Saccharomyces boulardii is actually a type of yeast, which is a beneficial yeast, which is needed actually for H. pylori and also for Candida. So these are the three different things. If you cannot cannot find, or rather don't know anything about the probiotic, just look for at least these three things which are in your probiotic. Now, how to maintain it with the regular yoga routine? So minimum 12 Surya Namaskar, that is, or sun salutation. Sabnis Kaka has lots of different trained people in Sri Yoga. Actually, they perform the Surya Namaskar sessions. So minimum of 12, it can go up to 24 as well. But if you can go 12, that's a minimum daily Surya Namaskar. And after that, applying a mud pack with Multani Mitti on the abdomen once daily for 20 minutes. That's another good practice to have a good yoga routine for the constipation as well. Then this is not a very common thing which has been seen, but since I found this in the Ayurvedic literature, so I just wanted to share. This is something which is called as Shankha Prakshalana. Shankha Prakshalana means it's basically the water which you are taking it from the sea to consume. So it's a saline water which is coming from the sea, or saline water. We call it as saline water here because it has salt in it. So there are 5 types of asanas which are performed in the sets of 6. So Tadasana, Tiryaka Tadasana, Kati Chakrasana, Tiryaka Bhujangasana, and Udarakarsana. So those 5 sets of asanas, they are repeated in the set of the 6 times in the set of that. 6 times is one set, and that set is performed 3 times. So basically, before you start with the asana, you take 2 glasses of water and add the salt in it, and that's a saline water. Once the saline water is consumed, then after that you do that the one set 6 times, or one set sorry, 6 times one set, and after the set of two, you consume the water again. So that is the routine, which is not something which is very simple or which is something which is regularly practiced. But since this has been listed in, or somebody who is really interested, they can actually read this modern clinical reference on, it's actually available in the NIH. So if you're really interested, look into it. There's a beautiful paper and the PDF available. Also, how to do these things along with the pictures. So this is a good way of starting if you're open for that. So just winding up or recapping what we talked about. First and the foremost thing is the daily exercise or the walk. And of course, the second one, clean eating. Very, very, very important what you eat. Managing the prescription drugs. Talk to your pharmacist. Make sure that, or your doctors. Pharmacist is actually the best person because he knows about the drugs more than anybody else. That if there is a constipation issue involved while taking that prescription, make sure that you're managing it with the other nutrient deficiencies. Or taking the other nutrients which can cause the deficiency because of the drug. Stay in the routine of going at those particular times, like going in the morning, evening, whenever you can, but stay in that routine. Meditation and mind calming techniques are very important to just calm down your mind to make sure that you are not over anxious, but because anxiety can lead to the constipation as well. So it's very, very important to practice meditation at home in whichever form. We have so many good meditators. Or rather, even Kaka has started it at 9:30 in the evening now. So take an advantage of that. It's important to calm your mind when it comes to controlling the constipation. And that actually brings to our end of today's topic. I know there's again a lot to soak in, but I have tried my best, whatever information is there. There are a lot of other things you can do, but this is just the regular way of doing it.
अलका, यातलं स्वतः तू किती केलंय, काय काय केलंय?
सगळंच करतोय आम्ही. माझं रुटीन तुम्हाला मी एकदा सांगेन.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Alka. In a very simple language, something that I can understand. I'm very thankful to you for give this presentation, and I'm sure that all of you will be benefiting from it. So again, if there are any questions, please go ahead and
sure. And this is again one thing I wanted to share, that whatever you are seeing here and even on most of my presentations, I usually make sure that those are done by me or my colleagues, and then we share it over here. So these are coming from the personal experiences as well.
Fantastic.
Sonali, tu hai ka? You're there? I think so. Okay. If you guys want to raise your hands or jump in for the questions, because it's...
Alka, I have a question. This is
Sure.
Jyoti.
Hi, Jyoti. Yeah.
Hi. Yeah, regarding magnesium, it is usually coming in 400, the potency is 400, and without vitamin D, is it okay to take magnesium?
Of course, there is no need of taking vitamin D along with magnesium. And
Okay.
usually magnesium will not come in the 400 milligram capsule, like a big capsule, because it's not possible to have that much of magnesium added in one capsule. But usually it starts from 100 milligram to 150 milligram because it cannot accommodate that much of magnesium in it.
I have a caplet. It's not a capsule.
So that's not the right form.
Okay. And the second thing is, the rice, we should not have refined rice, but some of the rice which you get, the liver finds it difficult to digest because it's unpolished rice. And for years, the liver is used to taking polished rice. So that's where the problem comes.
Yeah, you have pressure cookers at home. We can do that. We call it as in Marathi, Hatsarisa rice. So that rice is not difficult to digest. You are talking about something which is a brown rice, or probably the low, what is called as Navin, the new one which has come into market is that low glycemic index rice.
I'm talking about the red rice, the
brown rice is different from the unpolished rice.
Which rice is different?
There is a difference between the brown rice and unpolished rice.
Okay, no, the red rice I'm talking about.
Yeah, red
The-
rice is the wild rice. It is difficult to
Yeah.
cook the rice. It takes
Oh.
longer period of time. Yes.
Yeah. And the name of your iron tablet, which you said,
That is called heme iron.
what is the spelling?
It's HEME.
HEME.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Okay. Thanks, Alka.
Yep.
अलका
हा बोला.
ना आंबेमोहर तांदूळ कसा आहे म्हणजे डायबिटीसला आणखी जनरल
Ambemohar tandula, in general, Ambemohar is very, what you say, fragrant. So whenever you're choosing the rice also, make sure that it's not starchy. The starchy
Okay.
rice, or if you really want to use that rice, make sure you're washing it at least 3 to 4 times to take all the excessive starch out.
ओके
That's the best way of taking it. Ambemohar is fine if you want to, but control the portion and make sure you're washing it. Washing it very frequently.
ओके कारण आमचा केला तर आमचा अर्धा कप असतो भात दोघांमध्ये
Ardha cup, you mean a half cup of rice or half cup of cooked rice?
हाफ कप ऑफ कुक राईस
Oh, cooked rice. Yeah, that's excellent.
म्हणजे एवढूस आमचं असतो
Huh.
पण ते आणि आंबेमोहर आपल्या पटेकडे सगळ्या कण्याच असतात खूपशा तर मी युजली
Even with
3-4
the
वेळा
short,
भात बघते.
try to eat the long rice over the short one.
ओके
So what brand of rice would you recommend, like the low starch or low carb?
I usually wear, whatever is available in the market, but I personally use basmati, and which has less starch in it. There are lots of different varieties of basmati. When you wash it, in the first water itself, the water is clean. That is something you should be using.
मला प्रश्न आहे पारबॉईल राईस बद्दल
हा.
त्याचं काय म्हणजे त्याचे गुणधर्म आहेत का किंवा काय आहे त्याचं
Yeah, so parboiled rice, it has been usually used for making idlis and all. So the only difference between the regular rice and the parboiled rice is that rice is half cooked and it has been dried afterwards. So honestly, there is not much of a difference when you are buying the same thing. It's just processed. That's first process is done.
म्हणजे त्याच्यात सत्व नसतं का उरलेलं
Because we don't know how it is processed. We don't know how the process is. So I normally use the parboiled rice.
What about wheat flour?
थँक्स
The wheat flour?
Yeah.
Wheat
Can we-
flour once in a
Yeah,
while is
gluten.
fine, but anything which has what do you say, more of it's better than the refined flour. But overall, any kind of a flour, it has the capacity to clog the colon, especially people who are having an issue of constipation. It's going to be a problematic situation if you are using a lot of wheat because it's gluten, it's very sticky.
आणि पाणी नेहमी गरमच प्यावं का
Garam pani is the best. If you can have warm water, that's the best thing.
ऑल द टाइम
If you have constipation issues, yes, definitely yes.
नॉट
you can
ओनली
even
इन द
start with-
मॉर्निंग
Huh?
नॉट ओनली इन द मॉर्निंग
No, throughout the day. Throughout the day, if you can
So-
have at least, if you cannot have warm water available by any reason, but at least the lukewarm or even the room temperature water is okay rather than the cold refrigerator water.
अलका आणि रोज किती पाणी प्यायला पाहिजे आयडियली कॉन्स्टिपेशन साठी
So ideally, if you have if you don't have any other problems like any kidney diseases or any other problems, then whatever is your body weight, divide that by 2. That many ounces of water you should be consuming.
ओके थँक्स
Hi, Alka.
Hi, कौन बोलता है?
Hi. What is better, rice or wheat for
The wheat,
constipation?
I would, if you really have to eat,
Yeah.
if you really have to choose over the grain, I would choose the rice as a grain over the wheat.
Okay. Okay.
And rice, you're saying basmati is better than the short
Better in
grain
the sense
rice?
there are lots of types of basmati. So whenever you're choosing the basmati, I personally choose the long grain and which is
Okay.
not sticky. Means whenever
Any
you're
brand you recommend that tried and tested?
the one which I have tried, I think it is what is it called? Dawat.
Okay.
It's a blue bag and a very long grain as well.
Okay. One more question. Magnesium buffered, what type of supplement is that, and any recommendation, like any particular, again, same thing, brand tried and tested rather than experimenting?
Yeah, so whenever we are saying buffered, that means there is an amino acid combination together to avoid any kind of stomach irritation or distress, or even to make it especially in any kind of a mineral form, you need an attached buffer ammonia, the amino acid with it. So brand, honestly, you can look for any of the available practitioner brand. The most economical, if you're looking at, which is available also on Amazon, which is the pure encapsulation. But I personally use the Metagenics or Thorn or orthomolecular, or even as I said, the reactive magnesium, which is a new one, which has come in market now. The reacted magnesium has all different types of magnesium together, excluding the the oxide form or the other cheap forms as well. So it has gluconate, glycinate, citrate, malate. Those are the combination which comes in the reacted magnesium.
Thank you.
Hi, Alka. Two quick questions.
Sure.
Wheat flour baddal, I heard what you said. So what's your suggestion when it comes to ragi flour or jawar flour?
Ragi
That's
and
one.
jawar are fine. It's not, as long as you're consuming in the right amount. If you're eating just ragi, if you're eating just jawar, then it's a problem always. So should be a proper proportion when you're eating. All food groups are important. All foods that we are human being, which are which we have all the tests, what do you say, to gifted to us. So everything in the food category is good, but it's in the right proportion to eat.
Should you mix
Bajri
it?
and
Should
jawar
you
are
mix?
fine. I mean, that is something which we all, I mean, and if you really have to bajri and jawar, if you have to consume, I would say consume in the morning rather than the evening. Because as the sun sets, honestly, your body is meant to go into a state of digestion. Mainly in the digestion, whatever you are eating, it's a resting time for our body, that let our digestive the organs start working on those things. So always take light food in the evening rather than taking heavy food, which is like jawar and any kind of grains are a little bit harder to digest at night. So morning is always a good thing to have.
Alka, how about milk? Milk. How about milk?
Milk digestion, here there is a problem always, because we don't get the A2 milk, not always available. The proteins over here are hard to digest, and that's one of the leading cause of digestive issues, because tolerance to lactose. So if you really have to consume the milk, lactose free is okay, or A2 protein milk is also fine, but take it in the morning rather than evenings.
Take it in the morning.
And especially in the winter time when it's a kapha season. And any kind of milk product comes in the kapha category of food as well. So it has a capacity to increase the mucus, especially. So if you're prone to any kind of upper respiratory problems, try not to take milk at night.
Okay.
Alka, it was a beautiful presentation as usual.
Thank you.
Full of information.
Thank you.
And I just wanted to add the anal fissure and hemorrhoids also are constipating factors, especially seen in children. So you get a constipation in children. Usually they give prune juice for the children, just for that. And the other thing is
I'm glad you mentioned about the anal fissures and hemorrhoids. It is a problem of constipation, but that has a connection to the liver. Because that's a hepatic vein which actually gets swollen afterwards. So if you're not cleaning your liver properly out of these three organs, along with colon, the liver also plays a very big role when it comes to hemorrhoids.
Yeah, in Chinese medicine, liver and spleen, everything is added as spleen, but it's one this part of the liver.
Exactly.
The second thing is using oats. The oats in the morning is a breakfast with banana. That's a very good. Banana is a volume, giving the volume. So
building the wall to the.
Yeah, and bran.
मुलांसाठी काय करता येईल?
I'm sorry, what did you say?
नाही, मुलांसाठी लाईक माझ्या नातीला जरा प्रॉब्लेम आहे कॉन्स्टिपेशन.
पहिली गोष्ट म्हणजे the main problem with the kids is they eat lot of overall refined food like candies, sugar, cakes. Those things are that's a part of their diet usually. So try to have hidden vegetables in some form. I'll tell you my experience, what I used to do. So for the young children, when both the daughters are grown up now, but still that time I used to hide the vegetables in any form you can, in the little patty or in the sauces, like commercial sauces. If you are bringing, that's fine because they like it that way. But grind the vegetables, puree it, and add it in there. That's another way of taking. But adding them, or rather making them familiar with the vegetables, is extremely important, because vegetables is a part of our diet. You have to have them getting tested on the vegetables as well.
आणि खाते ती तशी भाज्या बिज्या, पण तरी पण कॉन्स्टिपेशनचं रोज
You
रडारड.
can start with a simple magnesium at night. You get the magnesium for kids. It's called calm magnesium.
अच्छा अच्छा.
And even the flax seed.
Yeah.
Hi. Sorry. I'm tired. Hey, Alka, this is Bula Ghosh, and I actually sent you an email a few weeks back, but
yeah, I think I replied. I remember I replied.
You did? You did?
Yeah, I did,
okay.
yeah.
Okay. So body type, your practice does
yes,
you do the body type? Okay, then I'll contact with you.
Sure.
I have. Thank you very much.
If you have Triphala as tablet form, is it a good one?
I mean, this is a new form of taking it, but Triphala taking a tablet form, I'm not a big fan of it. You should always take it in a powder form. And if the taste, yes, you will get used to it. But that's the best way of taking it.
Alka, what you said is the brand name of the children's magnesium?
It's called Calm magnesium.
How do you spell that?
CALM, Calm.
Oh, Calm. Okay.
Is the yogurt good enough for probiotic? I heard that yogurt is a probiotic.
Yeah, so yogurt is a type of probiotic, but it is only lactobacillus. So as I said, when you're choosing the probiotic, this is a very, very common questions we always get asked at the pharmacy. So whenever you're choosing the probiotic, choose for at least three of those categories which we talked about to get the complete benefit of the probiotic. Yogurt is okay because yogurt is one type, but you also need the bifidobacterium and you also need the Saccharomyces boulardii for your overall health. So choose for these through any brand, doesn't matter, but look for these three. The technology has improved so much now that they are usually it used to have the requirement of refrigeration, but not anymore. The technology has improved and now the shelf-stable probiotics are available. So always look for those.
And there is a connection of gut and brain. Even in Chinese medicine, they talk about it.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
The personality who holds the emotions. That's why you have to let it go. The meditation helps such people. And even the fever, because of all the toxins, you get constipated. Once you start moving balls, the fever goes down automatically. And fever is one of them.
Chronic issues. Whatever you're eating, the unwanted part, you must take it out from your system. And occasional constipation can happen due to many different reasons. Even if there is a unfortunate family stress built up, that can happen. Sudden death in the family or sudden any kind of an emotional trauma, if it is happening, that is possible. But that constipation should not stay forever.
So sauerkraut is a good probiotic, right?
Yes, that can. So sauerkraut, that's a natural fermented probiotic. But yeah, that's a good way of starting
to make at home also.
Yeah.
I have a question. My name is Kunjal. Can you hear me?
Yeah, actually, your voice is very low.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. I am using Florastor. Have you heard of it?
Yeah, I'm familiar with that.
Does it have all three of those, whatever you mentioned?
Florastor, let me check. Do you have my number? We can talk afterwards.
Yes.
Just please contact me. We can talk about the Florastor as well.
Yeah, okay, because doctor suggested me because
that is a specific type of a probiotic which is needed for certain categories.
Yeah, IBS situation.
That's true.
Yeah, that's okay. All right, okay, thank you. I will call you.
Yep, sure.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
All right, so we can take another 4 minutes because Sabnis Kaka has a class at 9:30 for the meditation, which we all should have, taken advantage of it. So
No, it's okay if you want to continue, but I need to leave.
No, that's fine. We'll take another 1 or 2 questions, and everybody has. We can actually meet during the yoga session also for meet and greet.
Alka, one more quick question.
Yeah.
For these scenarios, is fermented food good or not recommended? Like
For what? I'm
dosa
sorry,
or
for
whatever.
what?
Fermented food?
Fermented food for in general?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you have an IBS issue, you are supposed to be following the FODMAP diet. So if you're having an IBS and then you don't have that much of a capacity to digest the fermented food, then it's not recommended initially. So to improve, first you improve your digestive capacity to eat the fermented food and then take it. But if you don't have any other issues, fermented food, I would say, especially the dosas and idlis, if you're talking about, that can be taken once or twice a week. That should not be a problem.
Alka, I have a question regarding the amla powder early morning. Though amla is tridoshak, it does cause
No, amla
certain
is
sort
not
of
tridoshik.
acidity.
Amla is not tridoshik. Amla is taken for pitta.
Okay, so is it okay to take amla early morning amla powder for constipation?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, and what is the right time to take magnesium?
Magnesium should be taken at night time. That's before the bedtime, because it also has the capacity to calm ourselves down. It will not put you to sleep, but it will calm the mind.
So it's magnesium citrate, is it?
Depending upon what you need, it's some individuals need citrate malate. Some of them need glycinate, or the other form is the gluconate. So citrate malate, if you are having a constipation issue, yes, citrate malate is okay.
Which one is okay for constipation?
Citrate malate.
Citrate malate. And no Ayurvedic medicine should be taken for 1 hour gap, right?
Yeah, there should be always supplementation, and Ayurvedic medications is never suggested to take at same time. And so does the regular prescription medications as well. All right, Kaka, I think thank you so much again. And thank you everyone for listening.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And as Alka mentioned,
Thank you, Alka.
we have meditation every day 9:30. So you are welcome to join on Shri Yoga. I'm trying to just do this every day. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alka.